All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Back here where we need ya. Back here where we need ya. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I'm Rob McConnell. This is hour 2 of tonight's show, and we're coming to you from the broadcast center and studios of the X Zone Broadcast Network in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Sande Hart. We're going to be talking to Sande about evolutionary leadership, women's and feminine leadership, and liminality. Joining me now from Carlsbad, California, is Sande Hart. And Sande, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So,
Thank
Sande,
you for having me.
oh, it's my great pleasure. And Sande, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you did to get where you are today. That makes sense.
I'll try to keep that short. I am a first and foremost a mother and grandmother. I'm a women's empowerment, repowerment advocate. I'm an interfaith activist. I'm been working in the field of compassionate community building.
Wow.
And for about 2 decades, and run a women's interfaith nonprofit organization called the Global Women's Village.
Good for you, man. You're really busy out there, and I love what you do. So congratulations on each and every one of those aspects.
Thank you.
Tell me about the Odyssey, Liminal Odyssey. What is that all about?
Yeah, the Liminal Odyssey.
Liminal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it is luminous. It is a luminal. Liminal Odyssey is a philosophy, it's a practice, it's a modality, it's an adventure from what is otherwise normal or mundane to the miraculous. It's an odyssey to a destination without distance. And this philosophy, when put into simple practices that we already have and maybe a few worth adopting, reduces the condition of discovery and disclosure of our soul's sacred task. It also reveals patterns of behavior and of society that no longer serves us, that aren't healthy, that have whose time has come. I'm talking about systems of domination, particularly, especially since we're speaking on evolutionary women's leadership. The two are so interlaced in my life, because without having written the book, The Liminal Odyssey, The Alchemical Power of the Spaces in Between, and putting this philosophy and these practices into place, I wouldn't have come to so many conclusions I had about what really evolutionary leadership is as it relates to women.
And how did you come up with these philosophies, and how did you put them in practice? And what results have you seen?
Well, it was a surprise to me. Well, I'll get there. It was a surprise to me how I came to this. I sat down to write a story of something that happened to me in 1982 at a No Nukes rally and music festival in Pasadena, California, called Peace Sunday. And I've been urged by my friends for, the time that I finally sat down and really got serious about writing this story. But for about 15 years, my friends have been urging me to tell this story that I kind of had forgotten about, because this was in 1982. I was 21 years old. And it was a pretty cool story. And I'll be happy to share that story as well. But to answer your question, the as I'm writing, and as any of you know, if you're a writer or even a journaler, so much is revealed that surprises you.
Yeah.
And more stories started kind of pouring out of me. These are real life stories that happened to me, one chapter to the next. And when I started thinking about what got me this experience, or what did I learn from this experience, or what revealed itself in these experiences, I started assigning them as skills, like reverent listening and body awareness and cultivating synchronicities. And I can go on, and I probably will at some point tonight, but they revealed themselves to me. And this collection of about 12 skills over the course of 12 chapters, what I discovered, and as I'm writing and I'm practicing them and I'm really getting into them and paying attention to them, I noticed them as not 12 skills, but one super skill that literally alchemized my life, changed everything.
And
Everything.
what was that one skill?
Well, it's a super skill. It's a collection of all these skills.
I see.
You know, we tend to, if you're like me, I have like 300-400 books on my bookshelf, and each one of them is a different modality and methodology. And I go to one and that one doesn't work. And self-help books I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, well, they're also mutually beneficial. They're like building blocks for one another. And when we start kind of looking at these practices in our life that we all have perhaps something we want to dust off, something we want to improve upon, something we want to, remove the wheat from the chaff, if you will, of our life. Why are we looking at a self-help book in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So I started recognizing that, and it was just through the course of this writing, that all of those skills were working as one. And I guess I can call it liminality, if I have to give it a name, because liminal means the space in between. It's a threshold. That's what the word liminal means. And what started happening for me is I started looking deeper into the spaces in between dilemma and choice. I started looking into, anytime there was a threshold between here and there, mm-hmm. And, whether it's the space between my thoughts,
yeah,
or the space between the ages, right, or years, or what have you, that I just started to really dive into those spaces in between and spend some time there with these skills. And like I said, the results were so transformational that, and now that the book has been out for about 3 years and I'm in these various circles, I'm hearing more and more people are saying the same thing. It's remarkable. And it's not just not my skills that I say adopt these skills and give them a try. It's not a preachy book. It's what happens when we take the skills we have and look at them in this way. And
exactly.
These skills are good skills. And,
yep.
Look at them, adopt them if they work for you, but add your own. But yeah, it's super important that it's personalized.
My wife and I were talking years ago. By the way, we still talk. Oh. And she's not only my wife, she's my best friend. And I can talk to her about anything and everything. We both do that. And she was listening to one show I was doing, and I got home from the studio, and she said, you know that guest you had on tonight? And she named the guest, and I said, yeah. And she said, doesn't he realize that the answers that he was seeking were right in front of him if he would have looked in a mirror? And I said, wow. She said, and don't people understand that every answer to every question and every problem they have is in them. And I was, like that kind of turned a light on inside of me, because when I was doing shows from then on, I was listening to the guest and saying to myself, not to the guest, you just have to look in a mirror. The answer's right there. And I think that what your book does, it creates an inner awakening that the questions are outside, the answers are inside. Am I correct?
Oh gosh, you nailed it. I think this interview is over.
No.
Your wife said it. No, I could not be more excited to hear that wisdom, because it is exactly, precisely that revelation of a condition of discovery and disclosure of our soul's sacred task is what that's what the world needs of us right now, and it's all within each of us. That's why I love the expression, it's a destination without distance. We are all feeling this tug. Something's got to change. There's so much creative tension on the planet right now in every sector, mounting momentarily, and yet we can feel a shift. And like I said, quantum science has, revealed we're in a second revolution right now of the vibration on our planet. So all of these forces coming together, inviting us to this unknown place that's calling us, is within us. Your wife is right on. Thank you.
Sande Hart is my special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. And if you'd like to get more information about Sande after the show, not now, you just stay right where you are, listening to us in your car, your office, or wherever you are on this great big planet of ours. The website to go to after the show, X-Zone Nation, is www.liminalodyssey.com. That's LIMINALODYSSEY.com. And of course, we'll have this information up on our website at X-Zone Radio on classic1220.ca. Sande, stand by. You and I have to take a little break, and when we come back, we'll continue this fascinating self-discovery conversation with our guest Sande Hart. The X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, classic1220.ca, and our affiliates around the world. By the way, X-Zone Nation, the X Chronicles newspaper is still available for April at www.xchronicles.net. And you know what? The best part? It's free. So is all the programming that we have available for you at xzbn.net. That's right, free. No obligations, no nothing, because we here at the X-Zone believe if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And we want to be part of your solution. I'll be back on the other side with Sande Hart. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street, but not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A son's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the window, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
That's Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. And what a better song for this segment is not out there. My special guest this hour is S.A.R.A.H, and we're talking about evolutionary leadership, women and feminine leadership, and liminality. And she is the author of the Liminal Odyssey. Her website is liminalodyssey.com. Sandy, thanks very much for joining us tonight. And you must see a lot of changes each and every day doing what you do.
I do. I surround myself with a lot of really amazing people, and I'm fortunate to do that. I think we all have that option. And I made that conscious decision. So it's good to be in good company on a regular basis. And I'm also married to my best friend. So
that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is. So what is the story that led to the revelation and the theory of the Liminal Odyssey?
Yeah. So it's actually the first chapter of my book called What About the Dog?
What about the dog?
And yeah, What About the Dog?
Oh, I love dogs.
I think you'll like the story. And it's what I was alluding to in 1982 at the Rose Bowl. I went to a known Australian music festival, and while everybody was there for the music, admittedly, because everyone who was relevant from the late 50s actually was there. I do remember Taj Mahal was there, and Jan and Dean, but also Joan Baez and Bob Dylan.
Cow.
The first time that they had been on stage together, like in a concert. Bette Midler, Mr. Stevie Wonder, Fleetwood Mac, politicians and celebrities and environmentalists were all there to implore a stoned and rowdy 100,000 people crowd of the critical importance of nuclear nonproliferation. And that was the cause of this concert. It was a cause concert, really the first cause concert of its kind, only to be followed next by Live Aid. At any rate, in the very beginning of the day, the MC came out to the stage and said, it's going to be a very hot day, and we just got a report from the parking lot. Somebody left their dog in the car. If that's your dog, please go roll your windows down. And now I was sitting stage left, not too far from the stage, but remember, 100,000 people in a crowded arena, swollen to the max. And I couldn't stop thinking about this dog. I was just so idealistic as a young person, but I also was just really, there was something in me that I could not let go of. And I know Reverend Jesse Jackson came to do the invocation and start our day off. And when the first band was setting up, I started chanting, "What about the dog? What about the dog?" And I knew if I chanted, eventually it would get down to the stage. And sure enough, it wouldn't take long at all for somebody to respond to me. And they didn't. I was drowned out by that band. And then when the band was breaking down and another speaker was coming to the stage, I started again, but now my friends started with me. And this went on a couple of iterations until our entire section in our lodge area was chanting, "What about the dog? What about the dog? What about the dog?" Rob, this went on all day long. Around 4 o'clock, I was walking back in from the concession stand, and I heard it. I heard, "What about the dog?" And I didn't start it. And I'm like, it just was my realization that I don't know where that came from. I knew something. I knew something was stirring in me. I didn't know what it was, other than my passion for this dog.
Right.
But it would take me like 35 years to, longer than that, to really know what that was about. And when I stop and think about it, what happened from the moment that news hit my nervous system, that the dog is left in the car, and then my choice to do something about it. And then the power I had to activate 100,000 people because I was persistent and consistent about something that was important. And clearly everybody felt something important about that. what I was chanting about as well. It was meaningful to them as well. And then finally, at about 7 o'clock at night, right before Mr. Wonder was going to take the stage and ask for 5 minutes of silence, the MC came to the stage and said, "Oh, I hear you want to know about the dog," or something like that. The dog is fine.
Oh, that's
And then,
great.
yeah, everyone was cheering and trash was flying in the air. I remember, random objects. And then Mr. Stevie Wonder asked for 5 minutes of silence. So who knows if they did that just to quiet us down, or or it was a real thing, but it didn't matter. What mattered was I found my voice. I knew I was not alone in my seat that day. I must have had an angelic force, prodding me and pushing me, and that was the story that revealed that to me. That, oh wait, there was something going on between, and it's a pattern in my life. It's just a pattern in my life where I've always said yes to things, or I've been able to stretch an opportunity into something adventurous.
But how many people, Sandy, listening to us tonight anywhere on this beautiful planet of ours, have had that feeling and just kept that voice inside? And they will not know the difference it would have made if they just would have said something, but you actually took action. You let your voice be heard. And I think that this is what the world needs more of these days, is to let the inner voice out, because you made a great difference that day. You actually got somebody to take care of that dog, even if the rally was about nuclear proliferation. You did it.
Yeah, and not only, thank you, and not only do I believe that we're all gifted with a seed in our pocket to show up when we feel that tug. It's not only our privilege, it's our sacred responsibility.
Yeah.
And who are we not to show up? Who are we to play small? This brings us right to the conversation of women's empowerment too, and that is, we've been duped by patriarchy's charms, that this system of domination, that change isn't going to come from the masses. It's going to come from these leaders that look like this and have this power over us and are telling us, no, keep your, you're probably wrong, or you need us to make these changes.
Yeah.
This is, I think, where we're going right now, in a collective evolutionary impulse.
I love history, and history has shown us that when a woman has been in charge of a country, for example, look at the Egyptians. Then you've got the different queens, Mary Queen of Scots, Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, and so on. The country has been enriched because of the logical method. And then when you look at how men have run countries, well, you don't have to look far to see where I'm going with this one. Women in history
Yeah.
have made it strong. Exactly. And I understand the frustration, because I see it in my own industries where Pardon?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I believe that it's not the sex that determines the person who gets the job. It's the qualifications of the person that best suit the job. And, once again, I applaud you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not, I think we're also really well served to understand that matriarchy, these matriarchal societies that existed, before monotheism, really got their grip on us. And that experiment, I think, is starting to fade away. And I'm saying this as an interfaith activist born a Jew, that it was an egalitarian society. Men and women had equal voice.
Yep.
Matriarchy is, or I would say patriarchy is the absence of matriarchy, but matriarchy involves both the masculine and the feminine voices.
Right.
We're not talking about gender now.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about qualities of masculine and feminine.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And the wounded male, we can't blame men too hard. And by the way, women, this is what a lot of my work is right now. And my forthcoming book on the future of women's leadership is that we have a lot of baggage that we are carrying, and we have a lot of stuff that we have to look at ourselves to say, how much are we're contributing to that patriarchy.
Yeah.
And men, the wounded male, it's a whole nother radio program.
All right, Sandy, please stand by. You and I have to take another break here. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Sandy, visit her website, liminalodyssey.com. And Sandy Hart and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, coming to you on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming at classic1220.ca. And again, welcome to our new affiliate, WVEX 105.3 in Midland, Michigan.
It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street, but not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to?
She can kill with a smile, she can wound with her eyes, and she can ruin your faith with her casual lies. And she only reveals what she wants you to see. She hides like a child, but she's always a woman to me. She can lead you to love, she can take you or leave you. She can ask for the truth, but she'll never believe. And she'll take what you give her as long as it's free. Yeah, she steals like a thief, but she's always a woman to me.
Welcome back. Sandy Hart is my special guest, X-Zone Nation, and her website is liminalodyssey.com. Sandy, what types of transformation potentially takes place, and how is perception shifted as it relates to the paranormal, for example?
Yeah. Well, you know, as I described, the Liminal Odyssey alchemizes the mundane to the miraculous in ways that are transformational, like you say. When we practice these skills of awareness, paying attention to the impeccability of our words, self-realization, when we understand that we live in an all-encompassing, all-loving universe. I'm just rattling off a few of these skills. And like I said earlier, reverent listening and body awareness. There's an acute shift of perception that where you see new colors, you feel new textures, you're slowing down to the sound of awe and wonder about everything around you. And that's how we start cultivating synchronicities, meaningful connections between two things that may not otherwise be noticed. And I believe that that's how spirit talks to us. So when we are in this condition of, I guess we can call it liminality, then we start seeing what was normal and is now paranormal, but we're normalizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's time to normalize a new perception.
How does one's religious philosophies fit in with today's liminal Odyssey?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it all depends. I think the universal truth of all religions is love.
Yeah.
And then there's the golden rule: do unto others as you'll have done unto yourself. So to speak,
Yep.
Broadly, those two things. So I think we all agree upon. And what else matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, I mean, this is beautiful. There's, I write about the spaces on the Torah. I can speak to Judaism.
Okay.
'Cause I'm Jewish.
I love it.
The Torah is written in a very specific way. These scrolls that the first five books, the Old Testament, as it's known, is written on, and by a scribe who has some 4,000 hours of training and must know all of these laws to breathe them in to the Torah while they're scribing it. And there can't be any mistakes in the Torah. And if there is, there's a ritualistic process to remove that word. And if that word happens to be God, for example, then there's a ritualistic burial as well. So there's a real if you see a Torah, there's so much that goes into it. But this is the fascinating part about it. It was designed in a way that there's the exact amount of space around the outside of every portion of the Torah, or the page, if you will, and in between every letter. Exact amount of space. Now, one thing about Judaism is you can ask a Jewish person 2 questions and get 4 answers, or 2 Jews 1 question and get 5 answers. But this is fascinating, because what is that? Is the words may be written by man, but the spaces in between are where we find God. And I did a little bit of research on this, not a deep dive, but so much of our world religions come from the monotheistic philosophy, which came out of Judaism. So I think when we start slowing down and really understanding our individual faith, we'll find meaning in that, as I did with my faith. I knew this about the Torah, but it wasn't until I started thinking about liminality that made sense to me.
I believe that when we start taking a good look at our own religious philosophies, we're going to find out that we all have the same roots. Mm-hmm. It's just the same encyclopedia set, except everybody's got different volumes. But when you put the volumes together, you've got the complete set.
Right. And somewhere along the way, we got duped into believing that we can't sit together, we can't look at them, or nationalism uses religion as a great divider, as a great manipulation tool. And
there are those in power that use religion as a weapon.
Exactly.
Now, here we are in the 21st century, and we're still looking at religion as a means to weaponize and use against people.
I really think that we are evolving out of that. It's a slow drift, but I'm seeing it as an interfaith activist. There are Pew studies, and I've seen a few of them over the last 2 decades that I've been an interfaith activist, that have proven that the fastest growing identity is none, N-O-N-E. We're losing our youth. Religion is losing its youth because it just doesn't hold water anymore. Yeah. We're growing a whole new human being now. Yeah. I was talking to a high school student. I'm interviewing some women for my book, and I was interviewing this high school student, and who is wiser beyond measure and wiser than me, and what was coming from her, I could never imagine. Just the way their brains work. They've just grown up different with technology and computers, and they're using more of their left and right brain. We've been so left-brained, and it's time we move back into our right brain.
I agree with you 100%. In fact, here in Ontario, it was just announced that the Minister of Education said, no more cell phones in schools.
Yeah.
It's ruining. People are paying more attention. People spend, what is it? I think there was a survey that was put up. People spend 92% of their day looking down at their cell phones than they do anything else.
Oh, sure.
90.
Yeah.
And it's our grandson, one of the 15, was over at the house the other day, and my wife was, it was somebody's birthday, so she was writing out the birthday card. My grandson said, "What are you doing?" My wife says, "I'm writing out Stephanie a birthday card." And he says, yeah, I know that, Grandma, but how do you write like that? And he's in grade 6.
Yeah.
They don't use Scribe anymore.
You lost me at 15 grandkids, but okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. There's also 2 great-grandchildren.
Oh, wow. Bless your heart. I don't even know if my 35-year-old daughter can properly address an envelope. And she doesn't need to. I mean, she's brilliant. She's smart. And
takes after her mom, huh?
But, actually she can, because I made them do that in school and whatever. But anyway, we are growing a different human being right now. And we really need to get out of their way. And the reason, Rob, that I'm an interfaith activist is not because I'm interested in the faith traditions. I mean, I am. I love to know what makes people tick, what makes them think. I did this. I started this organization, our Women's Interfaith Organization, which was formerly called S.A.R.A.H, the Spiritual and Religious Alliance for Hope. S.A.R.A.H, the Mother of all nations. And at the morning of 9/11, where I heard "gather women," when I saw what we were all seeing on the news.
Right.
And I knew that, where do you go to affect change? And you go to the heart. And how do you impact, where can you find a critical mass in one space that are all facing the same direction, places of worship, and who are all informed and motivated, inspired by the teachings of that church, and particularly the rabbi or the minister or reverend, what have you, leader, what have you. And that's where change, I really believe change happens in that way. And I did a lot of community building, and there's lots of interfaith councils around the community that I'm still semi-active in. And women coming together and having honest conversations is really critical when we can dismantle the fear that has been used to manipulate us and see our common bond of love and compassion too. I was a compassion activist. I still am. I train. I do workshops on compassion and integrity training, and the core values of compassion are really, as Darwin would tell us, is required for our survival. When he said survival of the fittest, he wasn't referring to the biggest and meanest with the sharpest teeth, the one that kills them all. He was referring to the fittest in terms of character, the most adaptable and compassionate. He wrote volumes on that. So that's where we can go. And I don't mind telling you, I was on the Women's Task Force for the Parliament of the World's Religions, this major conference that moves around the world every 4 or 5 years. And this last conference was in Chicago. About 7,000 people came. Usually you get up to 10,000. This is not, coming right off of COVID, or a couple of years after COVID. We understood the drop in attendance, but it doesn't matter. I thought, okay, what are we going to do to really implore this community? We've got everybody under one roof. I know, let's build a women's village. And that is what has really catapulted me. It launched me into a whole new liminality of really understanding why it's so important for women to take the helm. And Indigenous wisdom will have. have prophesized.
Sandy, I've got to take my break. Please stand by.
Go
I
right ahead.
apologize.
Sorry.
But I want to talk to you about your woman's village when I come back, because I think it's a fascinating concept, and I love what you've done. And if there's any way we can help you get to where you need to go, just let me know. I'll be there for you. Stand by. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Sandy Hart and I return on the other side as we continue on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming classic1220.ca.
Yeah, she steals like a thief, but she's always a woman to me. Oh, she takes care of herself.
Go now, don't look back, we've drawn the line. Move on, it's no good to go back in time. I'll never find another girl like you. For happiness it takes two. With fire and ice, a dream won't come true. Sarah, Sarah, storms are brewing in your eyes.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the last segment of tonight's show. I'd like to thank all our guests tonight, as well as all the different affiliates that are carrying the show around the world and into the great beyond, including our newest affiliate, WVEX 105.3 in Midland, Michigan. And if you'd like more information about the X Zone Radio TV show, go to www.xzoneradiotv.com. If you would like to listen to any of the other shows that we produce here at the X Zone Broadcast Network, please, with our compliments, at www.xzbn.net. And if you have an idea of a show that you would like to produce or have done here with us, hey, send me an email. In fact, send it to our corporate offices and they'll get it back to me at admin, ADMIN, at rel-mar.com. That's admin at rel-mar.com. And they'll trickle it down to one of the producers who will get a hold of you and discuss, how we can help each other to make this a better world. Because if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Sandy Hart's my special guest. Sandy, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I love what you're doing. And gosh, I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a place for my voice to be heard. And thank you for being such a generous host and your insight and your wisdom. And please give your wife a great big hug for me.
I certainly will, Sandy. I certainly will. You and I have something else in common. The reason I started this show over 35 years ago was because I wanted to make a difference. Now, I was a police officer for a number of years, but because I came down with I came down with a degenerative hip, so I couldn't be a policeman anymore. So there were three things I wanted to do when I was a kid. I wanted to be in a rock and roll band, which I was. I wanted to be a cop, which I was. And my mom was an inspiration to me in broadcasting because she worked at CKGM in Montreal. She was a bit actor on CFCF TV in Montreal. And I said, well, no, gosh darn it, I'm going to get into broadcasting. And everybody said, yeah, sure. But anyway, I did. And the entire premise of the X Zone and all the other shows we do at Relmar, which is our corporate company, and the publications that we do, is to make one difference in one person's life each and every day. That's it. Mm-hmm. To make a positive difference. And to let people know what is out there, to let people know that even though they may feel that they've got this belief that they got to hide in a closet because they're afraid to say anything about it, I'd like to give them the forum where they hear other people. Yeah. And they don't feel so isolated. They don't feel alone. I wish I had a dime for every time I heard, well, you know what, Rob? I thought I was alone. No one's alone. You just have to listen, and you'll always find somebody who's willing to listen to you. And that's the secret that I don't understand why more interviewers don't understand. Everyone has a story. Give them the opportunity to tell it. So this is what we do, and this is what you do.
Well, it sounds like you've accepted your marching orders on your sacred task, and you're doing it brilliantly, because it takes all of us to show up in a meaningful way. Yeah,
there are
thank you.
times, Sandy, when I tried to get out of this business, and it's like fate says, no, get back to it.
Yeah.
And I've decided that, hey, I'm making a difference. I'm making people happy. I'm doing the best I can to serve my communities, and I'm giving people a voice, a way to get their message out there. So yeah, okay, Fate, I understand. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. Carry on, Macduff.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, from strength to strength.
Yeah.
From generation to generation. This is what we owe each other. Nobody is immune from being connected to anybody else. Nobody exists on this planet alone. And when we operate in a condition of enlightened self-interest, meaning with an understanding what I'm doing, what makes me come alive, is good for you, and what I do for you is good for me as well, where it's mutually a beneficial expression, then imagine a world where everybody did that.
Yeah.
There would be balance
Yeah.
in our society. This is what feminine leadership is. Whether you're gendered male or female or don't identify at all, it's feminine leadership when you're collaborative, cooperative, and practice this condition of enlightened self-interest. Because we have to take care of ourselves too.
I understand that, but you know what? Also, why I think that a lot of this is coming to the surface now is because men and other people are realizing, number one, we're all the same. Get rid of the different pigment in our skins. We're all the same. There is no different looking person on the inside. We're all the same. We all live on this beautiful planet. And ladies have always been nurturing and caring of their children and other children. Like, gosh, my wife feeds the neighborhood when they come over to play with the kids and the grandchildren, because you take responsibility. And are you your brother's keeper? You darn right you are. Right. We all have to take responsibility. And I think that is why it's Mother Earth, not Father Earth. Mother Earth.
Yeah. Like Earth, we are the givers of life.
Yes.
We are the sustainers of life. Our womb is the first ocean.
Yeah.
All life comes through us. And so when we accept that responsibility and that privilege, and we hold our shoulders back and our chin up, and we honor ourselves, that's where it begins. That's why the days of pounding the pavement and pumping our fist and demanding equality, well, of course there needs to be, balance. There needs to be parity, because men and women aren't the same. We're built differently. We have different roles and to procreate life. And there's different conditions, yet parity means equal access. So when we all have equal access, and what keeps system of domination in play is fear, and so just the question is, why? What's the fear? What'll happen if? Oh, well, let's look back on eras where women were at the helm. Before the break, I was mentioning, and you got me really excited, so I wasn't paying attention to the time, that according to indigenous wisdom, the staff has been passed to the feminine, not the woman, the feminine. And because women, the gendered woman, embodies that feminine naturally, because we need it to care for our young, feed our young, have more babies, and so on.
Yeah.
And just our nature, some things that are absolutely women's nature, that we own that helm, that we own that staff, and we start believing it for ourselves, and then see what happens. Here's a really cool practice.
Okay.
And this is great for women to do because it just demonstrates, I used the word, it demonstrates the system of domination in a different way. But I invite everybody to take the word J-U-S-T, just,
right,
out of your vocabulary. It's sort of like that word but. It discounts what you just said. I love you, but.
Yeah, exactly.
You look nice, but. Well, just does the exact same thing. Yet, I just want to call you, or I just want to say something, or that's just saying, it's almost asking permission, or it's dismissive, like, forgive me, sir, may I speak? And that's a condition. That's the cellular memory that we carry. That's the baggage we have to do work on. And you know what? It's not a switch you can turn on and off. Perhaps you'll be a little bit more aware of it now that you've heard this conversation, but there's practice. Practice is really important. The Liminal Odyssey does have practices but anytime you practice anything you want to change, you're changing the chemistry in your brain. You're actually rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways where it becomes a habit, where it becomes part of who you are. And that's how you impact the collective, because you're creating a whole new culture that starts with you. And culture is nothing more than a collective agreement from everybody. So what are we going to do to start showing up in our power? And I want the gendered male to do the same thing and drop the fear and take a look at that woundedness, especially white men, because white men have been carrying so much since the Inquisition. There's a heavy load. It is. We can go on and on, but generally speaking, this is why I wanted to build a village in the middle of the world's religions, into the epicenter, the root ball of that system of domination, where the religions are, to create a space, 1,300 square feet. That's the amount we got. And boy, did we use every ounce of it. And people would say, God, the air is different in here than it is out there. And we didn't have any big walls. We did have a container. We did have something that created a divider between us and the rest of the convention in the foyer there. But we didn't have anything that would have created, like, it wasn't a closed room. The texture in the air was different. It just was different. And men were coming in there and sitting down, taking naps, playing their guitars that they might have brought, or flutes, or whatever.
Sandy, I hate to do this, but we've just run out of time for tonight, dear. You'll have to come back, Sandy. You'll have to come back, because we still have so much to talk about. Sandy, take care. Thank you very much for joining us in X Zone Nation. If you'd like to visit Sandy's website, which I urge you to do, liminalodyssey.com. Well, that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. So until tomorrow night, my friends who are listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Classic 1220s, and of course streaming classic1220.ca, always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Good night, everyone.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home.